hearing. Her questions pretty closely followed the text messages between the two of them to ask about Rona Graff, Trump's longtime assistant. You were defending her today, or in recent days, yesterday, and you talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said. You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that you mentioned there?
I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says, is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from a registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just doing a quick search on FEC. So number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein, because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Well, Stacey, rational here.
So I'm not going to necessarily say that that's the case. Now, this is somebody that was a former prosecutor. Now, I haven't sat down and talked about all the specifics of why Stacey was doing what she was doing. I know that when she got up and she spoke, she talked about the fact that this was one of her constituents. At the end of the day, what I know of prosecutors is that they are typically talking to co-defendants. They are typically talking to the people that have the best information. And what you had was the former attorney for the president that was sitting there, and honestly, we knew, or she knew, or at least Jeffrey Epstein presented, that he was very cozy with the president. He had more information, registered sex offender or not. The bigger question is, why is it that the president was so cozy with a registered sex offender even after he ultimately ended up with some of his convictions? And seemingly, he had absolutely been on the plane with him. We know about the birthday card. The bigger question is, why is the president of the United States not the one that is in the hot seat for his relationship, instead of us saying, oh, you know what, we're going to take her off of her committee because he decided to text her. Stacey didn't initiate that chain. Jeffrey initiated that chain, and she took the information. Just
get into the Jasmine Crockett of it all. Jasmine Crockett had a truly hilarious moment. I don't even know how else to put it. This was something really special. I used to, some of you may know, teach journalism, and she just committed the error that like a freshman commits, or somebody who just started working in journalism. Now, mind you, Jasmine Crockett is not a journalist, but she is a lawyer and a member of Congress, which, believe it or not, is even less of, or she's actually even in more of a position to know what she's talking about here, and yet doesn't. So let's roll this incredible moment of S8, Jasmine Crockett on the House floor trying to say that Republicans took donations from Jeffrey Epstein. She's right about that part.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, Jasmine, they sure are. I'm sorry, Congresswoman, Representative Crockett. They sure are there for everybody to review. Let's go ahead and put this Chuck Ross tweet up on the screen, F6. He says Jasmine for U.S. is disastrously wrong here. None of these donors are the Jeffrey Epstein. Several are from the same Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, and the donations to Lee Zeldin are from after the Epstein killed himself. So now, technically, Jasmine Crockett did qualify it, whether it was intentional, by saying somebody named Jeffrey Epstein. These Republicans took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein. But of course, if you just dug a little bit deeper on all of the FEC reports, you can always see the address. You can usually see a person's profession. You can match details, especially with, in many cases, you can match details to the particular person that you're talking about. And with Lee Zeldin, I mean, that would have been obvious because, again, this money came in after Epstein died. And this woman went to the floor of the House, flanked by Stacey Plaskett, who worked at the law firm that was like fixing the U.S. Virgin Islands for Jeffrey Epstein legally. She's right there. And Jasmine Crockett's own on the Republicans is that somebody named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein gave money to these Republicans, to the NRCC as well. I mean, genuinely, we can put F7 on the screen. This is another great comment from Chuck Ross. Crockett getting this so badly wrong is, I guess, why politicians usually outsource their Oppo research to the professionals. But you would also expect a member of Congress to know more about FEC filings. And again, I just want to add, Crockett is a lawyer. She's a lawyer. If a lawyer is able to do anything, it would be to know exactly what you're talking about when you pull somebody's FEC reports, Federal Election Commission reports. That is like the very basic thing that you would be capable of doing before going to the House floor and saying, we're going to expose it all, mention it all, to quote the housewives. But nope, Jasmine Crockett did not even have that due diligence in her. So perfect all around, 10 out of 10. No notes. Jasmine Crockett, you would not be passing any of the journalism programs that I oversaw, because that was egregious. And also just one of the reasons Democrats never wanted to really touch the Epstein story, get in the muck with the Epstein story, is, as you can see from these emails, let's put Donald Trump himself aside for just one moment and Alex Acosta aside. Those are two massive caveats, not excusing them, just putting them to the side momentarily, because people like Larry Summers were high-profile Democrats for a very long time. Many of the circles that Epstein is running in, well, actually, almost all of the circles Epstein is running in were primarily left-of-center Democratic Party establishment circles, which is why the left was very reluctant to wade into the Epstein saga until, of course, it could be made a story about Donald Trump. Now, I happen to think there are some very good questions to be asked about Donald Trump, about Alex Acosta, who was Trump's pick for labor secretary and backed out of it eventually. But Trump, you'll remember, was known as what? A Democrat. A Democrat. Well into the 2000s. And so these were the circles that Epstein and Trump were moving through. And again, like, we're talking about Larry Summers. This is Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary. We're talking about Bill Clinton himself, actually. And Epstein was really cozy with a lot of very powerful, high-profile Democrats. Of course, those high-profile, high-powered circles tend to be bipartisan, corrupt on a bipartisan basis, because you look at all those guys, they give money to Republicans and